Hi guys, Bob here with another recipe for you. A lot of you guys I know are challenged by how to get enough fat into your diet when you're trying to do the MMT diet. And believe me, that's a very common issue that people struggle with. And so I want to show you a simple and delicious, can be a dessert, it can be a snack, it can be anything you want it to be, recipe today that you should always have on hand because it's so easy to make and it's so great tasting. And it's basically homemade healthy chocolate. And so I'm going to show you how to make it. I'm going to show you the ingredients. So to start with, we use as the base coconut oil, and we melt the coconut oil beforehand. So we're going to use a half a cup of coconut oil. We're going to use a half a cup of almond butter. Now you could substitute peanut butter in there if you want to. If you're going to use peanut butter, make sure you get the lowest sugar peanut butter you can find. But I don't like peanut butter personally, so I like to make it with almond butter. A half a cup of almond butter. And then a quarter cup each of carob powder and cocoa powder, and they're both chocolatey in their taste direction. The difference is cocoa powder is totally unsweetened and has a little bit of a bitterness to it, whereas carob powder has a little bit of sweetness to it. So the bitterness and the sweetness kind of balance each other off. So you don't want to use completely one or the other. It's better to use about half of each. So in this case, I'm using a quarter cup of cocoa powder and a quarter cup of carob powder. Gonna have a little pinch of salt. And then for the sweetener, we're going to use stevia. And we're gonna use about a half a teaspoon, maybe a rounded half teaspoon of stevia powder. It's 2 of the little packets of stevia. So those are the different ingredients, and I'll show you how easy it is to make. So first, you have your coconut oil melted. And with the melted coconut oil, you then put in the half a cup of almond butter, and because the coconut oil has been heated, it'll start to melt the it'll start to melt the almond butter, and you can see the almond butter starting to soften. And the longer you have it in there, the more it'll soften. And once it's most of the way melted and mixed in with the coconut oil, it doesn't have to be completely because you're going to be stirring other ingredients in, and as you continue to stir the other ingredients in, it will continue to melt. Now we're going to add the cocoa powder and the carob powder. And we're going to use a little whisk. We're going to add the stevia, and that's a little too much. I don't want to put that much in there. Just a little pinch of salt. So you can see now it's looking like melted chocolate. Now the fun thing is you've got flexibility as to what you can add to this. You have a choice of, some people will just want plain chocolate, and as much as I am a chocoholic and I love chocolate, I find that adding other things to it can really add to the flavor, add to the texture, and add to the experience. So what I've chosen to add, what I put in, is I put in a quarter cup each of chopped pecans and unsweetened flake coconut. So now I just mix it all together. It'll give it a little bit of a crunch, and it'll give it a little bit of the coconut oil really doesn't give it much coconut flavor, and you don't have to put, like I said, you can put whatever you want in there. You can put other different types of nuts. You can even put fruit in, or seeds if you want to put sunflower seeds or something like that in there. And so now you keep mixing it all together, and that's all there is to making the chocolate. Okay, now that we've made the chocolate, the next step is to pour it into a container. And you can use however big you want, depending upon how thin or thick you want the chocolate to come out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put it in the fridge. because the coconut oil, especially this time of the year in the summertime, it's summertime when we're recording this time of the year, the coconut oil is almost liquidy just right out of the jar. It didn't take much to melt the coconut oil. So we need to have it solidify so that you can actually eat it. And so I will, so now you can, it's in the pan. And what we'll do is we'll put this into the fridge, and this would make probably a good 12 servings, something in that neighborhood. And the great thing about this is it's very high in good fat. So you're getting probably somewhere around 20 grams of fat per serving, but you're only getting a few net carbs and a few grams of protein. So it's a perfect, even though it's not a ball, so you can't really call it a fat bomb, it's a fat bar. And it's great tasting. You can keep it in the fridge. It'll stay in the fridge for a long time, although it probably won't last in the fridge because you'll be eating them on a regular basis. So we're gonna go ahead and put this in the fridge, and once it's solidified, I'll show you what the final product looks like. All right, guys, here we go. Here's a couple pieces fresh out of the pan.
You put nuts in them,
Put
yes.
pecans and some unsweetened coconut flakes. Guys, you gotta make this, you gotta keep it in the fridge. It won't last long because everybody will wanna eat it, but this stuff is so easy to make, as you saw. It's delicious, and like I said, it's almost all fat, very little carb, net carb, very little protein. This is a perfect fat filler for you.